Hey guys, today I got a review on the Thinkware F770 dash camera. This was sent to me for review by blackboxmycar.com, so as usual, if you're interested in this product, there will be a link down at the description. So this is a pretty high-end camera, and I was really excited to try this out because I've never actually used a Thinkware camera before. So this is going to be just the one-channel version, but you can actually get it with the rear camera. Even if you want to buy the rear camera later, you can choose to do that because it still has a port for the rear camera. And it's also full HD, so even the rear camera is going to be 1080p. Now this camera also has some pretty decent specs for a two-channel system. It does have Sony CMOS sensors for the front or rear camera. It has a 140-degree wide-angle lens. It claims to have super night recording for really bright nighttime recording, a hardwiring kit for parking mode by motion detection or G-Shock detection, a speed and red light camera alert system, which I personally don't know how that works. My assumption is that it uses the GPS and has locations already mapped out because I don't think it actually has a radar detector built in, but where I live there are actually no speed traps or red light cameras. They're not legal in my state, so I couldn't test that anyways. It does have a built-in supercapacitor with high temperature protection, so it'll cut off the power if it's getting too hot. It does have Wi-Fi with an iOS or Android app because this does not have a screen, so it's sort of similar to a Blackview camera. It also has built-in GPS, supports up to 64 gigabyte memory cards, and actually has internal memory to back up certain files also. One feature I really appreciate is audio alerts.
Regularly format memory card for data integrity. Memory card format will now start. Memory card format complete. Continuous recording will now start.
On top of all of those features, it does actually have lane departure warning and forward collision warning, which usually I'm not a big fan of, but it's there in case anyone wants to use that. So this did come bundled with a 32 gigabyte memory card and an adapter, so let's go ahead and install it in the camera. I do really like this very discreet, sleek, and all black design. It's a much better improvement over the F750. I also like all the easily accessible buttons, such as formatting the memory card or turning Wi-Fi on, and it's also removable from that flat mount. It does come with a manual and a small memory card adapter, which is really unique. I've never seen one like this before. So you actually insert the micro SD card into the USB mail section. At first I didn't even believe that that's how you did it, but then you can see the red part stuck out, and when you push that red part back in, it'll eject the memory card. So I thought that was pretty neat. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the iOS app. So there's a lot of different options here. With the live view, it'll actually give you some lines for you to set the correct positioning of the camera with. There you can see it is a live feed. Now there's several different menus for saving different type of video files. Of course we have the continuous recording, where you can view the footage or save it to your phone or delete it wirelessly from your phone. Now there's also going to be the event recording, which is when you cause a G-Shock, a parking recording when you're using parking mode by motion. And when you use the motion detection, this is a buffered recording during parking mode, so if it senses motion, it'll actually save 10 seconds prior and 10 seconds after. So in addition to those, we have the incident parking, which is G-Shock in parking mode, manual recording with the manual lock button on the actual camera, and then the files you've downloaded. So let's take a look at the memory card settings now though. What's cool about this is you can partition different amounts of your memory card to the different file types. So they do have the recommended one. But not only this, you can even set whether or not each of these recording types loop over, or if it'll actually save them and tell you to format it once it's full. So that way, if you don't want any of your manual recordings, for example, to be saved over, you can have it fully locked. Now the dual save feature is another really cool, unique feature I haven't seen on another camera before, where some files, like the incident recording files, will save to its own internal memory. So that way, maybe your memory card gets corrupted, those really important files will be stored locally on the camera, and then you can transfer that. Another thing I really like is the fact that you can change the brightness on either the front or rear. That's something you can't do with black view cameras. We got some sensitivity settings. This is pretty typical. Parking mode, you can do motion or time lapse. I prefer the motion detection though. We do have a timer for how long it'll stay on while you're in parking mode. And some voltage cutoff settings. So black view cameras don't have this built in because you typically hook it up to a PowerMagic Pro or something similar, where this camera has it all built in and you control the settings through the app. Then this menu is just all about the different road safety features, like the speed camera alert system, the lane departure or front collision warning system. Now I am a big fan of these features that are built into cars, but when they're built in, the cars can actually brake or keep you in the lanes if you're drifting. But with this, all it's going to do is give you an audio alert. So if you're passing out and falling asleep or something, you might be out of luck anyways. A small chime likely isn't going to suddenly alert you if you're about to crash into someone. So I wouldn't depend on it to really keep you safe. It's more of just an added bonus. A couple different languages in here. You can turn the security LED into different modes, which is really cool. You can change the speed and whether or not you want the speed displayed on the video. So a lot of these other features are pretty typical, but overall I think this app is really great, really well laid out, and Thinkware definitely knows what they're doing. So my first impressions of this camera and the whole Thinkware lineup pretty much are very positive so far. I think they've hit a lot of the marks that I expect in a high-end camera. And of course, video is going to be one of the big factors for most people. And, you know, it's not anything super extraordinary, but again, this is a 2-channel system with full HD. Now, unfortunately, you don't get any higher than 10 or so megabits per second, even when you're using only the 1 channel like I am. Now, this camera does have an Umbrella A7 chipset, and that's a pretty good chipset. So other cameras that use that have better quality video, but this camera packs in so many other features that it's likely that the video quality suffers to put all those other high-end features in it. So if you're someone that doesn't care about all this collision warning system, the Wi-Fi or the GPS or parking mode, and you just want the best video quality out there, this definitely isn't a camera for you. But that's pretty much been the trend with all of these 2-channel cameras for over 2 years now. So I'm still waiting for that awesome, perfect 2-channel camera system that, you know, I've wanted for 2 years now, with full HD, but as good of video quality as most other single-channel cameras, even if you have to pay a lot more for it. Now, the night footage is comparably good to the day footage. Of course, the night footage isn't going to be crystal clear like some single-channel cameras that are way better at video at higher bit rates. But considering even the daytime footage is only about 10 megabits per second, I thought the night footage was pretty good quality. So they market this camera with having super night vision, and that sounds like a really corny marketing gimmick, but I actually think there, is some truth to it. On a dark road with absolutely no lights, I was pleasantly surprised at how bright the road was, because majority of cameras with just my headlights on the road would not be nearly this bright. So while, as usual, a 2-channel system not having the greatest footage, at the very least they do have pretty bright and quality. So overall, it wasn't the giant leap in video quality I was hoping for over the Blackview 650 2-channel systems, but it is nice to have what I consider a very good competitor to the Blackview cameras, because I really like those screenless, discrete cameras. I like 2-channel systems if I can use them, and all of these features like parking mode, I actually value those features. So I'm okay with giving up a little bit of the video quality if I can know I'm going to be protected from a hit and run in a parking lot. So I look for those features. Now the one major con I do have for this camera, as someone who uses cell-link battery Bs to power my Blackview cameras while my car is off so I don't have to use my car battery, you can't just directly connect the cigarette adapter from this camera into something like the cell-link B or the T-Power Plus, because it actually needs to be hardwired to the fuse box. It doesn't just turn to parking mode when it senses it hasn't been moving for a while. It actually detects when your car shuts off. So if you wanted to use something like the cell-link B, you'd have to splice the wires into the cell-link B output, and that's something a lot of people might not want to do. So if you want to use something like the cell-link B, I'd be aware of what you need to do to actually hook it up that way. I wasn't willing to try that because I didn't really want to splice any of the wires, but that is definitely something to note. But if you don't care about that at all, then I think this is a very great option if you're looking for a high-end Korean dash camera with parking mode and all of these other high-end features. It's arguably better than the Blackview 650 2-channel systems. Now, it doesn't have an equivalent of Blackview Cloud, so it doesn't have all the same features as the Blackview cameras, but it makes up for it in a lot of other ways. So it's really subjective to what you value more, what you want in your camera more. So again, I'd like to thank Blackbox My Car for sending this out for review. If you like this video or my other videos, I'd appreciate if you hit like and subscribe. And of course, drive safe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.